Good morning and welcome to Mike Adams on the Fly. Today we're going to tie kind of a easy pattern for all of you that fished any time at all. You'll know about the woolly booger and all of the benefits that you can reap from woolly booger and different ways you can fish it. This is not also going to be a good thing for the trout fisherman, but if you're a bluegill angler, especially pond fishermen, this is a fly that I would highly recommend to have in your box. I try my best to go to Alabama 2 times a year and bass and bluegill fish. This is the only fly that I tie on. It's the only thing I use. I've caught bass, I've caught catfish, I've caught crappie. It's a all-around fly. The bluegill, excuse me, eat it up. I also tie, similar from a bluegill fishing, is kind of the same little fly, but it is just a black woolly booger, a little bit of crystal flash in the tail, a size 10 hook. Size 8 can be tied, but I find that I have way more luck on a size 10, and a chartreuse head. I also fish this fly and this fly together on small streams. Usually if I don't catch fish on the orange one, which that's usually my first go-to, I can always turn to the chartreuse black and catch fish on it. Also, when you get into the bluegill fishing again and some trout, it don't happen all the time with trout, the bluegill like it. It's white with a pink bead on it. So 3 different variations. If you can tie one, you can tie them all. I use a bead. Usually I use about a 3/16. That's about the best in a fire orange or fluorescent orange, and also in the chartreuse. So we're going to get started on tying this. It's a relatively quick fly. Don't take too awful long, not too much material. The hook that I'm using today is a 5263 TMC, model 5263. And it's, like I say, it's size 8, where I can get a little bit better picture on it. Also a great hook for it, and I do use it some, is a Gamakatsu 1720. And it's a wet fly or a nymph hook. Y'all excuse me. I'm all clogged up this morning for some reason. Anyhow, I've got the bead on the hook. Like I say, it's a 3/16. It's a fluorescent orange, and that's what I'll have. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie on or lay in here to hold secure. If I can find what I did with it, there it goes. 20 thousandths lead wire. I want that bead to stay in place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it. I'm going to do 10 wraps. If it don't break, how about that? Let's try again. All right, 10 wraps. This gives me the desired weight I need fishing, either pond fishing or whether I'm stream fishing. Now, I've caught some awful big trout on this fly, and it's not really a fly to be laughed at because too many of my customers know how it is. It will catch it. I've caught up to 24-inch browns on this thing, and I'm going to tell you what, rainbows love it. So we're going to be using a UTC 140 fluorescent orange thread, and that's going to blend right in with our bead when we get to the end of it. I'm going to wrap that thing in. I like to wrap back up into my wire wraps, and what that does is lock everything in place. We're going to come on that, then we're going to wrap back to the bend of the hook. Bring it right on back to the bend. You're just about up and down with your barb on your hook. As you can see today, I'm using my Dyna King, I might have to spin a little hackle on this thing in a minute, so I like my Dynaking for it. I think one of the most important parts of this fly is the crystal flash, pearl crystal flash. A pack of that would go a long way. I pull out 7 strands, or 6 strands. It's just something that I've experimented with a little bit. If you put too much in there, the fish turn off and you get a little short strike every once in a while, but don't get near as many eats. But I like to go, and I found out that I do about 6 strands. Everything is good. Let me tie that in and get it anchored into place. Make sure it's right up on top of my hook. And I'm about I'll fold it over here and show you in a minute about how long I want that, and you can measure by it as you do it. I'm coming back off of the front of the hook. So you can see that right off the front of the hook. That's about what I want. That's going to give me room for my tail to kind of, as they say, undulate and get going. Right here, I have got light olive, medium strung marabou, light olive. That's the color for 12 months out of the year. I find that to be quite well. You saw our crystal flash we have. We're going to come in here now with our marabou. We're going to take it, cut it, and trim it down, clean it up a little bit, and have it fixed. What we want to do with it is go right even to the tips of our crystal flash. Take that and lock it in real good. Make sure we're back there, coming down just about even with the hook bar. All right, I'm gonna take this thing forward. That's gonna give me a little bit more body when I get ready to put my chenille on and fix this baby up. Come right here, go right around, wrap it back. I like to kind of wet my finger and twist this real good, and that way I don't have a big old heavy bump, as you can see, on my marabou. Good. Works in quite well. All right. We've got our crystal flash. We've got our marabou. The next thing we need to do is come in with a grizzly hackle. This is a half neck. You can get whole necks. I like to do Hoffman. Metz is great. They got some really good, high quality material. And one of the things I want to look for when I'm looking for a good hackle is I don't want a lot of webbing in it. I want it to be a good, stiff, strong hackle. So let's come in, tie this baby in, and get it going. We'll get up here. It's flared up. Let's trim that off. And let's bring it to the front again. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put our body on. And we have got our chenille, as we talked about earlier. I like to fill my chenille and rub it. One side's going to rub real smooth. That's the size. I want that to be at the front. You can kind of take your little tying scissors and pull that off. You can also pull it off with your fingernails most of the time too. Tie this in right here at the back. We're going to go forward. I'm going to take this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap right even with the back, and I'm going to wrap it right off of itself, as you can see going forward. We'll just go one wrap right in front of the other. And that gives a good even body. We'll bring it to the front. Have a good kind of a snug fit up against the bead. I like to wrap 2 in front of it, and we're going to take this up right here. And we're going to cut it as close as we can. There we go. All right, we're going to come right here. What I like to do is, as you can see, we got a little space right there. Is build a good little place for our hackle to set when we come to the front. We're not going to have to worry about it too much. So let me get my cradle right here. We're set up on that. Gonna grab this little hackle right back here. And if you take your index finger, I guess you can see what I got, and hold that right there, that's gonna make sure that your hackle feathers will lay backwards when you get everything done. I get to the front of this, I like to do a wrap or two, and it lets me preen it back, and it lays quite a bit smoother. Get that cradle out of the way. About 4 wraps, and that should hold it. Go in front, tie that thing down, snug it up, lock it in, trim the hackle feather off. All right, what I've got here, and I haven't even give you the name of it yet. George Daniels wrote the book Strip Set, and in that book he mentioned this fly, but he called it a South Holston swinger because we anchor and we swing this thing around in front of the boat, throw out at about a 45-degree angle, let it swing around, and usually right on the swing or the dead end, the fish will take it. When I fish that and on a drift, same way you do a regular big streamer, throw that thing to the bank, pull it off, and let it go. You can see how by wrapping it the way I did, that thing will lay back, and it really looks good in the water. If you haven't, you can see how easy it is to tie. If you haven't tried one of these, please go right ahead. Everybody around here, I've never sold it in stores. Some little local people I tie them for, but it's referred to as an orange bomber. And the reason I say that, one of my customers one day was catching fish on it, and it was just a phenomenal day, and he said, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to call this fly the orange bomber because it just blows the trout out of the water. So I prefer that name overall. All it is, though, is just a light olive woolly booger with a fluorescent orange bead on it. Thank you guys for watching. Look forward to doing it again. And don't forget, take yourself fishing.